What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Professor Anime and welcome back to another video. In today's video, everyone, I am here to bring you all my review for the return of Bungou Stray Dogs. Bungou Stray Dogs Season 2, Episode 1, or if you want to be analytical about this, technically this is Bungou Stray Dogs Episode 13, but nonetheless, this is the second season of the series. So let's get started with the review. So Bungou Stray Dogs is back, and I gotta say, I am so glad that this series is back. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this series, I will admit that. However, Season 1 left me thoroughly enjoyed when I first reviewed the series on my channel, and I stuck it all the way up to the end, and it was quite an enjoyable series, and I definitely think that Season 2 is going to be a whole lot, darker in the tone of how the series has been playing out, because as I stated in my previous reviews, and I'm pretty sure other people can agree with me on this, that Season 1 of Bungou Stray Dogs was a little bit slow-paced in the beginning and gradually started to get to the darker nitty-gritty of the show, and it was mainly about the build-up of the characters and the world that is in this series. Now, when it comes to Season 2, this is where we are going to see shit hit the fan. And as a fan who has enjoyed the first season of Bungou Stray Dogs, I had many questions, surrounding this universe, especially for the fact, I want to learn more about these characters, especially when it comes to Dazai, because as we know from the first season of Bungou Stray Dogs, Dazai was a part of the antagonistic group known as the Port Mafia. And in this first episode of Season 2 of Bungou Stray Dogs, we actually get to see the life that Dazai lived during the time that he was involved with the Port Mafia. And this is very interesting to me because, I speculated as to, whether we are going to get this somewhere later down the line, and most likely will we get it in Season 2, and it turns out that we actually see it within the first episode. And I gotta say, freaking awesome first episode of Bungou Stray Dogs Season 2. It was just an enjoyable episode to look at, and especially find out more about Dazai's backstory and how he was involved in the Port Mafia and who he knew at the time. And there was two members that he tagged along with in the Port Mafia at the time, before meeting Akutagawa, as far as we know. But when it comes to Dazai, the two people that he hung out with the most, it seems like, is one individual called Oda, which apparently he has this ability called Flawless, where basically he can look into the future, like 5 to 6 seconds ahead. Something like that. We actually see a clip in this episode as he is looking for some sort of clues as to track this one individual down that you will see in the episode. We actually see, like, he ends up predicting what is going to happen to him further along the line if he does not dodge this said attack, and he can actually see the consequences of that if he doesn't. So this actually gives him an upper hand to actually counteract opponents in battle, as he can technically predict their moves before they even do it, so to speak. So it's a very interesting move. I like his character so far, especially from his little introduction that we seen in this episode of Bungou Stray Dogs. Now, the second character that you have to keep in mind is pretty vital to this episode, and honestly probably for the future of Bungou Stray Dogs, and that is this one character called Ongo. Now, Ongo apparently seems to be a sort of spy, like he's pretty much a double spy. Now, he is said to have worked for the Port Mafia, which is Dazai's little group that he and Oda are in, and he's kind of like an informative operative in the group. However, at the same time, it seems like he has been leaking information to the enemy organization that the Port Mafia was facing at the time, which is known as the organization Mimic. So already you can pretty much tell that this individual known as Ongo is pretty much leaking information to this other organization, you know, called Mimic, about the Port Mafia, and I guess, you know, telling them about their abilities and, you know, how they exactly do things, and so that way, you know, Mimic can overtake the organization known as the Port Mafia. So this guy is a little bit of a traitor of sorts, as far as what we can basically tell, and we have pretty much, this is what the whole episode was about. We have it to where we get introductions from Ongo, Oda, and Dazai, as we see that these three characters interacted a lot. However, one of them was technically a spy, and now we have Oda and Dazai looking for Ongo, and basically they want to figure out as to why he is doing this in the first place. And that is pretty much the episode in a nutshell, without giving too many spoilers. I mean, that's technically the episode entirely, but I mean, still, I mean, go watch the episode. If you're a fan of Bungou Stray Dogs, what do you do watching my review? Go ahead and go watch the episode, come back to this review, and, you know, then we can actually discuss it further along in the comments. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below on what you guys thought about this first episode of Bungou Stray Dogs. I really enjoyed it. It was pretty solid for a prequel episode, I must admit, and I'm just glad that we, you know, are getting some sort of backstory between, you know, Dazai's past and what happened within the Port Mafia before he left. And as we know, out of these three members, you know, one of them died. It could be Oda, it could be Ongo. We know for a fact it's not Dazai, because as we seen Dazai in the first season of Bungou Stray Dogs, so knock Dazai right out of the picture. So it seems like maybe in the next episode we'll figure out who exactly ended up dying. But yeah, I think that pretty much about does it for this episode review. Pretty much the only little information that I want to give you on about this episode, guys, is that this episode was adapted from the light novel, one of the light novels of Bungou Stray Dogs, and not one of, you know, a chapter or two from the manga. This is actually adapted from the light novel, which serves as a sort of prequel to the manga of Bungou Stray Dogs. And I like how we are actually getting a little combination of the two that actually gives us anime only's the full story, so to speak. And so far, I think they're doing a pretty good job as to adapting the story of Bungou Stray Dogs. I'm not exactly sure if they skipped out on such, but you manga readers can end up telling me that in the comments down below if you so desire. Just no spoilers, please, because I don't want to be spoiled, and I'm pretty sure nobody else wants to be spoiled as well if they are anime onlys of this series. But yeah, I'm definitely curious to hear your overall thoughts as to what you thought about the first episode of Bungou Stray Dogs Season 2, Episode 13. Let me know in the comments down below on what you thought about this series, and give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace, guys.